Hey, what's happening everyone? Codial Fever here, GZCL. In this video, we're going to talk about this bad boy right here. This is my cable tower. Been getting questions about this on Instagram, on Reddit, private messages. I've been getting comments in my YouTube videos. Thank you everyone to your interest in what this thing is. This heavy duty behemoth has a very small footprint, but it gets a lot done. It ain't perfect, but for being cables in a home gym, and I've got a small one, 200 square foot, to have cables in a small gym like that is amazing. And I think that this video is going to show you what you can make yourself, or what you can do with designing something yourself, and find someone in your local area to help you make it, or perhaps you've got the knowledge, skills, and abilities to make it yourself. Improve upon this design because it's not perfect, but it does a great job. I'm going to cover it top to bottom and talk about its features, its strengths, its limitations, and I think by the end of this video you will be able to take this design that I drew up myself and have something like this in your own home gym and just see a huge improvement in the capacity of your home gym. Because like I said, these cables are they're gold. One of the hardest things to get into a home gym. With cables you can do so much, but traditional cable machines take up a lot of space. This is a small footprint. It's a plate loadable machine, and it gets a lot done with just a little bit of space. So I really hope that you can watch this video, learn from my experiences and this design here, improve upon it, and if you do, make your own video. Send it to me. I love this sorts of stuff. I would love to watch your video and see how this design can get better. I fully expect other equipment manufacturers like Rogue or Titan or Sorinex or any of these other manufacturers probably going to watch this video and be like, damn, it's a super smart idea. I'm going to steal it. And if you steal it, just send me the one that you make, okay? Because it's probably going to be a little bit nicer than this one here. I just want one that you make, man. Maybe name it after me, something cool, all right? So let's just get into the nitty gritty here, start talking about this cable tower machine. We're gonna go top to bottom, and I think you're really gonna like it. All right, we're at the top of the cable tower here. First things first, to put my hoodie on because it started snowing outside. It does get cold in this gym at nearly 10,500 feet elevation. So hoodie's on now, and it might turn into hoodie and beanie, we'll see. Anyways, here at the top of the tower, I want to give a shout out to Dick Bear. He's the guy that helped me with my design and actually crafted this thing, brought my baby into this world. All I had was an idea and some drawings, and with his knowledge, skills, and abilities, he was able to improve upon my design and actually weld this thing up and get it all put together, and I've been using it for now the last few years. So shout out to you, Dick Bear. Thank you so much for your help on this, and I just really like saying your name because it's a pretty badass name. Okay, so we're at the top of the cable tower. We're going to discuss this thing top to bottom, and first things first is this wood bracketing that you see right here. This is very simple, just some screws mounted to the ceiling joists in my barn. What this allows to be done is the square bracket inside of this sleeve to be lag screwed up into this piece here, so that then this sleeve can fit over the top of that, or around that I should say. These screws on the left and right fix this sleeve that goes over the tower itself right into these channels here, so then that way you can adjust this vertically to the height of your ceiling, and you can also have some fine-tune adjustment front and back and side to side and get this thing balanced out a little bit better. Now inside of this is a square bracket that fits down inside of this sleeve. That again is mounted to the wood, and it's just a very small, I think it's like 1.5 inches by 4 inches squared, and a very neat thing that this does is that allows you to have height adjustment to basically account for different ceiling heights, while also giving space for this pulley in here. This is a 4-inch pulley, I believe. I think that this was maybe Dick machined that himself, but you could probably get something like that store-bought. I'll get a close-up shot of this, but over that pulley from the front side comes the cable, and the back side here is the cable. So this cable is the weighted side where the weight loads onto the car and the plate pins up over this pulley, and then this is the front side where you work out on. So very simple stuff here. Just down from the top, this trunk has on the front side and the back side channel, but this is, I believe, is a piece of like 2-inch by 4-inch heavy duty gauge steel. It does not need to be as heavy duty as this. I was counting on having to move a lot more weight perhaps with like a belt squat style setup, and I've done that before with good success. But you could probably make it a lot cheaper with just using a slightly lighter gauge steel. So this is, I think, two 2x4s welded back to back and having a channel just cut right down the center here. I could probably sand that down and make it a little bit less dangerous, but you know how it goes. Sometimes danger is a nice thing to include in your life. Maybe not in the gym though. These holes are drilled out for the height adjustment of the working side here only. The back side doesn't have holes. It only has the channel, and that's where the weighted car goes up and down where the plates are. Next up on this machine, we're going to talk about the top and bottom cable. This top cable goes up over the pulley and down the back side onto the side where the weights are actually loaded. Bottom cable goes down to the front end where you do your low end cable stuff like a low row, your biceps curls, that sorts of stuff. This top cable is used for doing your face pulls, your lat pull downs, that sorts of stuff. So these cables, very simple things. That has a carabiner attachment and just these simple C-clamps and a loop for these cables. I believe I got the cables purchased online, some of this equipment at a local hardware store. If you live in a place that's more populated than where I live, you probably got a lot of this stuff near to you and you don't have to order it online. So these cables have carabiners on both ends so you can attach them to the weight car that has the plate pins on it, and then also onto the front end where you can attach your implements like your rope, your straight bar, your easy curl bar. I have like a fat long wooden dowel that I like to use, but this right here is a very simple way to run your cables. This right here are just some old wrist straps that I use to cover up these C-clamps. That way I don't hit myself in the face like I've done in the past, because when these bolts hit you in the face, it kind of sucks. If you have a fitness equipment supplier near you, you can get nicer cable attachment stuff, but this works great for me, and I'm not all too picky. So that is the cables and how they're actually attached to each other. Let's go ahead and talk about the back side where the actual weight is loaded onto. We are now at the drawing board so I can go into some details about some of the things I've taken some B-roll footage of. You can see the close-up of what this looks like, the actual construction of it, as well as what the drawings here show the function of it. So first things first, we'll start on this side. It's the most simplest part of it all, is the car stop. This sits right below the weighted end, and it's all this is a little piece that you can take off, and that is so you can load the car when you're assembling it, and also not have the car and the weights bump all the way into the ground. It's got a little pin here that's welded onto the tower itself, and this little bracket, it just sits on there and goes against the tower. It's very, very simple. Down here, it just rests against the bottom of the tower. This end hooks into the tower itself. This is the weighted side, this is the working side, and the car stop just keeps the car from hitting into the ground with your weights loaded on the pins. Very important piece that I didn't have in my original design that Dick Bear created, and it works great. So make sure you've got something that's going to allow you to load your weights, but at the same time not have those weights come crashing into the ground every time you lower them, because otherwise it also makes it hard to even put the weight plates on. So without something like this, you can't have an empty pin going all the way into the floor. Otherwise, it's just going to be a pain in the butt to load, and it's also going to make it a little bit better for when you're moving around this particular one. You might re-engineer it to do something differently, but this keeps the car from sliding out of the bottom of the actual working side channel. So we'll go over to this side of the whiteboard here and start discussing the car on the back that the weights are loaded on, and here on the front where the working side is, where you do your actual exercises. This is the back car, this is the front car. This block here and that block there, those slide inside of the channel that is within the 2x4 beams. It just fits in there pretty snug, and it goes up and down. The front one does not have bearings on it, only the back one does, because the front one isn't moving. You just adjust that to its height that you want it, put this adjustable C pin in there, and it locks it in place. I haven't had any problems with this design. If anything, the only problem is that it's a little bit of a pain in the butt with this C pin here locking it in place. I think mine just had one pin on it and maybe at the side, and I think what Dick told me the problem with that was if it was going to cant or tilt, it would just kind of make it a bit more troublesome when you're actually working. So having a 2-position pin helps out with this particular design. Again, this is kind of like the meat and potatoes of the cable tower itself. The tower is really simple. You've got your front and your back, and you've got to have some mechanism on the back side to move up and down and something to guide it. There you go. You've got the channel, and inside that channel is this car. On the front, you've got a channel in this car there that further guides the cables through this top or bottom pulley. This only has 3 pulleys on it, one at the top of the tower. It's a big 4-incher. These ones here I think are only like 2.5 or 3-inch ones. And I think these ones down here actually Dick did machine himself. You may not have to. You may be able to find some pulleys at like an exercise equipment shop or something like that, some kind of supplier. Really very simple stuff here. I hope the video that I took does capture what these things look like, and my descriptions here capture what they actually do. That is a pretty simple design with hooks on it that just goes on either side, sets on it, and this keeps the back car from slamming all the way into the ground, making it very easy to load your weights without having those weights come all the way onto the ground. This, you can see, it's pretty light itself. It does have some lateral movement on it, side to side, but really not too bad. This side has the car with the bearings, the skateboard bearings, on the inside of this 2x4 here, this metal 2x4, and it rides up and down inside of this channel. I've got this extra carabiner here on the back because what I've been doing lately is just putting a band onto this one to a heavy kettlebell, so that way I can use straight weight and band tension on this cable machine. This was something I just recently started doing, so this extra carabiner right here is just a little bit of bonus pro tip. If you decide to make one for yourself, count on some kind of contraption to actually use bands on this thing, because that's awesome. Maybe you'd want to mount it on the left or right side to go around the pins here or something. I don't know. But this is a relatively new thing for me, and I really have been enjoying using cables, or excuse me, bands on this cable machine. And just a very nifty way to do it was to mount a carabiner to the back side of it and have those bands attached to a heavy kettlebell and just set that thing right there. This is the working end of the tower here. It has 2 pulleys in it. I've taken out the top one just to show you that you can easily remove it with a cotter pin, slide it in between there, take that pin, push it through, and now I can do things like face pulls or lat pull downs from this position. But if I do lat pull downs, usually I'm just having it stay at the top. But this way I can work from a higher position doing face pulls, and the cable can use this bottom pulley right here. But when the car is set down low, which I'll show you next, the other cable rides through the top one here. The issue that I have with this is all of my doing. I made this cable just a little bit too short, but really no problem at all. Just a slight inconvenience when it comes to the actual working height of this. So just do a better job measuring your cables and you'll have it all figured out. Now what I've done is I've taken this front end and lowered it using the C-clamp pin here. I guess not really a clamp, but I've used this C-pin here that goes into that front car. That way I can adjust the height of my exercise here on the front. And it does have a little bit of tension on it, so you have to pinch it together a little bit to get it into the holes. That way it holds itself in place. This is the hinged end, and the bottom pulley I do have with just a bolt and a screw. The top one just with a simple cotter pin. And this way I can do things like seated rows, curls, that sorts of stuff. I'll set it a few feet off the ground because I'll usually sit on my bench and do my rows that way. This cable then comes up, just hit myself in the elbow, but you can see just how easy this works right here. Little loud, but all in all, it's a very functional piece of equipment. It's got very simple parts here, stuff that basically anyone can find at a local hardware store, and even someone with novice metalworking skills can make this. You don't have to have a race car designer and builder make this for you. I was just lucky enough that I had one around that can get this made up real quick and easy, and he had all the tools and could help me refine my design. So there it is, top to bottom, this cable tower here, and I hope that you can take this video as inspiration to have something of your own made and designed. Appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel, requesting videos. This was a video that was requested by people who've been watching my videos. So again, I just really appreciate your interaction, your encouragement, your support. If you've got questions, maybe something I didn't cover on this, just let me know. I'll try to get you answered of more detail and help you on your way to building your own very small footprint cable tower.